welcome to today's episode of the Balanced Approach podcast. I'm your host, Louis Padian. I hope that you're doing well and are enjoying the podcast and the topics we've covered so far. These podcasts are released every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, so be sure to subscribe wherever you are listening to be kept up to date. So in today's episode, we will be talking about a happiness trap that I often see people falling into, and that is when they use the statement and rely on the statement, I'll be happy when I lose a stone, I'll be happy when I can fit into that dress or that outfit. And it's quite a dangerous statement and can lead to a lot of issues further down the line, and also makes you feel worse immediately or in the current state. So a 2010 study found that actually focusing on future goals as a source of happiness can actually decrease current well-being. And this is what I see with people. They tend to beat themselves up, they tend to value themselves less, don't feel like they're worthy currently, which actually doesn't set them up for sustainable behaviors of success in wanting to lose that weight anyway, because they're dieting or losing weight from a position of low self-worth. And actually reframing it can be a lot more beneficial and make it a lot more enjoyable. And I came across this phrase, and it was, imagine spending a beautiful day obsessing about the next sunny day on the calendar. And that's what people do. They think about this future time when they will be happy, when actually they can choose happiness right now, and they'll miss the opportunity to enjoy the sunshine in the present moment. And this is what I see when people are at social occasions, and imagine that family photo, and people don't take that photo because they don't feel comfortable, they haven't lost weight, and they haven't lost enough weight yet. And actually, potentially when that next photo comes around, or when they have lost enough weight, some people might not be there to enjoy it with you. And it can actually really set us up for this constant delayed gratification when actually it never actually comes. And it's not really a positive place to be, where you're constantly chasing. And often you'll hear a lot of people who have done this who are quite successful, and they'll talk about that actually they hope that people were able to achieve their dreams, because they'll realise that's not the answer. And it's a really positive thing that people have been quite outspoken about, that actually it's about the inner work that we need to work on. So that delayed happiness is a big problem. It's also really poor for our motivation. So focusing solely on a future goal can really lead to those short-term bursts of motivation, but actually can lead to people feeling frustrated and discouraged because they feel that their happiness is so far away and the results aren't immediate. And this can make healthier habits feel like a bit of a chore, because they're not actually finding joy in the process. They're waiting to feel that happiness because they're putting all their eggs in one basket, which is so far away that currently there's nothing to enjoy. I see this with people when they go to the gym, they fixate on getting to a certain body shape, certain weight, and when they don't see the immediate results, if you've got a stone, 2 stone, however much to lose, it'll probably take you a lot longer than you think to lose it sustainably and manage to keep it off. Yes, the scale weight, we can manipulate it quite easily, and this is what the trap that people fall into with detox diets or these 90-day transformations, is that you aggressively do things that you can't sustain. So you actually don't end up sustaining the results and revert back to your old ways. And this is really difficult and hard when people go through it, is because they blame themselves for it. And it's not that, it's the methods let them down. Actually, they need to give themselves an opportunity. They need to take it slower and actually really learn to enjoy the process, enjoy movement, enjoy the way that they're eating, and find joy and satisfaction and motivation from that in a more sustainable manner, which leads to more sustained motivation. Last but not least, actually, it's linked with that negative body image, and this is something that is a real big issue with this I'll be happy when statement or mentality, is that it often reinforces a negative body image. It implies that your current self is not good enough, potentially leading to feelings of shame and low self-esteem. And it just makes it all about your body and your weight. If you are waiting, if that's the phrase that we're using today, I'll be happy when I get to this certain dress size, this certain weight, ties your success and your worth into your body weight and your size. And that is not necessarily the case. You are 100% worthy already. And this is what I talk about, dieting from a position of strength, that you are already enough as you are, and believing in that you deserve love, care, and to be treated well actually allows you to diet from a position of strength, where you go, I'm making these choices not because I have to in order to feel worthy or to be good enough, because I want the best for myself, because I deserve feeling better, I deserve to feel more comfortable. But also acknowledging that where you are right now is more than enough as it is. If you continue to do this, it can really create a vicious cycle where you feel bad about your body, you go on these restrictive diets, over exercise, really dial down your calories, and lead to that negative emotions and really unhealthy relationship with food, because you're not enjoying the journey at any point, and you're not enjoying the activity probably because you're under fueled, you're not recovering, and you're probably not going to get the physique that you potentially dream of from this. And then when you find that really, really hard to do, then you end up leaning back or going back to your old ways, emotionally eating potentially, binge eating potentially, and then feeling what's the point? And you get to a point where you're just constantly beating yourself up, and that's not what we want. And that's because you're making it all about your body image, all about your weight, when actually there's much more to it. So what would I suggest instead? I'd obviously suggest a more balanced approach to these things. So a really good phrase is progress, not perfection. And that's where we celebrate those small victories and acknowledge your progress along the way. It could be going from eating no fruits and vegetables to eating one fruit and veg. People might turn their nose up at it, they might snigger at that, but that's a step in the right direction. If we can do that consistently and eat one portion, then maybe we'll get to 2. And then when we've done that consistently, then we go to 3 and we build up. And it's actually less likely to go from 5 down to 0, because we've already built those habits and sustained them over a period of time. That's what we've got to do. We've got to build those steps in. Shifts your focus away from the number on the scale and actually think about all these healthier habits and how they make you feel and how you're building them. Again, did you manage to take the stairs today rather than taking the lift? That's a huge win. If we can do that consistently, did you manage to eat more protein at each meal, which you know is going to benefit your maintenance of muscle mass and recovery and help with dieting as well? Did you manage to monitor and measure your activity today? Did you hit a certain amount of steps? All these things, no matter how small, we need to celebrate them, because that positive environment that we're creating reinforces that behavior. Just like, as bad as it sounds, when you give a dog a treat and it does something well, you're reinforcing that behavior. That's as simple as it is. And it's important to remember that every step on that journey towards a positive health outcome should be celebrated. Next up, I'd recommend practicing gratitude. So taking time to appreciate your body for everything it allows you to do. And this is an element of like body functionality. We're not talking about body positivity, because there's some areas of that I don't think are particularly helpful, especially some of the messaging around it. Body functionality is just appreciating your body for what it's capable of, or body neutrality, where we're not taking any focus away from putting any focus on it at all. But it'll help cultivate a more positive body image if you're able to carry the shopping from the car, if you're able to take the stairs and feel less out of breath than usual, if you're able to go to the gym and lift some weights. All these things are actually things that we can be grateful for and actually really appreciate our body for if we're doing a particularly tough task, or getting you through the day, sleeping well. All these things, we can get into the nitty-gritty of it, but actually just finding positives that aren't focusing on number on a scale and how our body looks, and appreciating our body for what it's capable of and what it does, is really, really a positive shift and helps us have a more holistic approach to it. So moving that focus away from things that we dislike about our body, but even just simple thing each day of writing down 3 things that you appreciate about yourself today, about how your body has performed, about you as a person. So again, taking another step back and not making it a thing about your body at all, but actually you as a person. And this simple practice can help shift your mindset to a more positive direction. Next up is something that I often talk about, is finding joy in movement. So find activities that you enjoy rather than viewing exercise as a punishment. Again, if we're delaying our gratification, our happiness until a certain point, we feel we need to beat ourselves up in the process, we're not going to enjoy that process at all. But if we can learn to enjoy the process, and that involves finding foods, including foods that we enjoy, it involves finding movements and ways to move and activities that we enjoy, and however varied they might be, they might not burn the most amount of calories. And I'm not bothered about that, because I genuinely believe, and I've seen from experience, if people are happier more in general because they are doing things that they enjoy more often, they will make better decisions around their food and activity. They will treat themselves better and not beat themselves up. And they value themselves more. They value their health more. So whatever it is, I remember, and I've probably spoken about this a few times, a patient that we used to regularly discuss for 10, 15 minutes every appointment
about his painting of his model planes. That gave him joy and happiness, and we made sure he scheduled that in because that was important to him. And it was an act of self-care, but it was also something that he looked forward to, enjoyed, and it was mindful practice for him. There's so many benefits to it. And you might think, well, he was there to lose weight, Louis. Well, actually, he was looking forward to our conversations, and we discussed things around physical activity and food, and made sure that we discussed them, but also what was important to him. Spending time painting his model planes, we discussed it. He made sure he penciled it in also alongside things that he enjoyed, so maybe going out for a short walk, maybe doing some gardening. And this, again, depends on what you want to do. Another patient where walking probably wasn't the best option, they didn't feel safe, they didn't enjoy it, and actually they preferred to dance in the kitchen. So I said, right, how often do you think you'd be able to get that in? Would you enjoy doing it a couple of times a week? Yeah, put the music on in the kitchen, have a bit of a dance, and that burns calories. It's a way of moving, and it's not conventional, it's a bit outside the box, but I think that it was one of the things that made her make the most amount of progress, is finding that little thing, that little light bulb that brought that spark to her that she enjoyed each and every day. So find activities you can enjoy and find ways to move your body in ways that you enjoy. Last but not least is connecting with a deeper why. Why do you want to make these changes? Is it because you don't feel like you're enough? Is it because you feel uncomfortable day to day? Why do you want to lose the weight? Why do you want to wait until you're a certain weight, certain size, until you're happy? Well, because I'll feel more comfortable in photos. And well, that's something that we can work on without actually losing any weight. Because I want to feel more comfortable moving, going up and down the stairs, less out of breath. I want to be able to do activities. Well, losing weight probably will help with that, but we can also work on some strength training as well. But why? What's a deeper issue? Some people, it's I want to be able to play with my kids without getting out of breath. I don't want to feel worried whenever I'm got something physical that I need to do at work. I've got a history of chronic diseases or lifestyle diseases in the family, and I want to avoid that. Having an understanding of your deeper why, instead of just automatically, naturally, which a lot of people do, is going, well, my weight's the problem, and that's the reason why I want to change. Well, what will a lower weight allow you to do? What will it alleviate? What will it achieve? And understanding that and identifying your core motivations will help you stay more motivated as well, because weight goes up and down. Weight, especially on scale, is really fickle, and it's not a linear process. But understanding the reason and the deeper reason why will help you to turn up more often. It will make the process more real to you. So it takes the focus away from your body, again, that your body isn't the problem, the way how we perceive it is, but also allows us to enjoy the journey a bit more along the way, because those markers along the way, those reductions in risk, being able to play with your kids more, being able to take on smaller challenges that might not be the one that you want to do at the end of the year by walking up this massive hill, it might be walking up the street and being less out of breath. Those are things we can measure as well. So it doesn't have to just rely on scales or a clothing size, for example, but we can measure it in lots of different ways. So developing a really deep understanding of why you want to make these changes, looking past the automatic reason of weight and size, and understanding what will it add to your life, what value are you hoping to gain from this experience. So important message take away, that happiness is not a destination. You don't have to delay it. You can be where you are, but also it's a journey. And by focusing on the progress instead of perfection, celebrating those small wins, cultivating more gratitude for you, your body, you can find more happiness right now without feeling that you need to wait 6, 9 months, 12 months to be a certain weight or certain size. Actually, we can do that now, and a lot of that will be developing a better relationship with you and your healthier habits as well. So I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I really hope that if somebody does have this sort often, that this will help them change that mindset, or take a step towards changing that mindset and developing healthier habits and a better relationship with their body, exercise and food, and step away from this mindset that can often trip people up. So there you have it. Thank you very much for listening to today's episode of the Balanced Approach podcast. If you have any questions, queries, or would like to reach out to me, please do. I am at Louis Padian Nutrition, which is at LOUISPADIAN Nutrition on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and all other social media platforms. If you're looking for support in achieving your goals and living a healthier, happier, and more balanced life in the process, click the link below and inquire about working with me. Remember to subscribe to the Balanced Approach podcast wherever you're listening for more insightful episodes, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.